the terrorists in his country can be defeated, terrorists like Al-Qaeda and ISIS and all of these other groups that are working with them, and make it so that the Syrian people are able to move on with their lives, to make it so that the Syrian refugees who have fled Syria to not only the Middle East, but Europe and other parts of the world are able to return home.
So, I mean, but what do you say about U.S. policy? I mean, you spoke to him again, not many people have done that recently. Is he open to some sort of alliance with the United States, assuming the Trump administration is open to that as well? What did Assad say to you?
I think he is looking for what our president, new president Donald Trump, would see as a shared interest with him, with Syria. And the shared interest that he has seen is this commitment to defeating ISIS, this commitment to defeating this terrorist threat that not only exists for the people of Syria, but it exists for the Middle East and for the world. And if this threat continues to grow, it's something, again, that becomes even more real than it is already for the American people.
Now, why do you think that the entire foreign policy establishment in Washington, really on a bipartisan basis, and certainly the Obama administration, put toppling the Assad regime at the top of the priority list?
You know, it's unfortunate, but it continues a track record of foreign policy decisions that the United States has made, even in the recent past, beginning with Iraq in toppling the Saddam Hussein, with Libya in toppling Gaddafi, and now in Syria to topple
What's the thinking
Assad.
behind it? I mean, you've thought about this. Why Assad? I mean, it's not a defense of Assad or his brutality.
It's this idea that the United States should be the world's police, and that the United States should say, okay, here's a bad guy, we're going to go and topple this bad guy, without thinking through what the consequences of those decisions are.
What would they be if Assad were toppled? And it looks less likely every day, but let's say that happened. Who would lead Syria, do you think?
This is the key question, Tucker, is the reality on the ground is that the strongest force are groups like al-Nusra, which is Al-Qaeda, are groups like ISIS. There are many different radical jihadist groups who are fighting there, all with this same goal of toppling the Assad government, knowing that they are the most effective,
right.
They're the most powerful, they will take over. So not only will life for the Syrian people be a living hell, they will, religious minorities will face a genocide. They will pose a great threat to the region and a great threat to the world.
And you have some video, I think your husband may have shot this while you're over there, and in one clip I want to show, you interview a Christian clergyman in Syria, of course, as an ancient Christian community, and this is his
He's
view.
Actually in Aleppo.
In Aleppo,
yes.
Wow. Okay, here it is.
We are not having rebels. We have terrorists. All who are modern people who think in the terms of this age are targeted by them. They want this country to be bad. They want us not to be improved and developed as a community. And their plan is to have an Islamic state in this country. And they didn't read the history. They didn't know that Christianity was spread out from this country, from Antioch.
Interesting. It's a complicated story there, but the Christian community does seem on one side. But if you want to see more of that, unfortunately we're out of time, but go to our Facebook page. We're going to put that up. How long is it?
It's about 5 minutes long, and this reverend is talking about this. Rubble behind him is actually his church.
Yep.
That was completely destroyed. I just want to say really quick, the call that I heard from the Syrian people was for the United States to stop arming these terrorists, to
right.
stop providing this support. And that is exactly what my legislation does. The Stop Arming Terrorists bill will make it so that we are no longer fueling and providing support to militias and groups who are working directly with Al-Qaeda in Syria to try to overthrow this government, resulting in strengthening
right.
Al-Qaeda and increasing the suffering of the Syrian people. It's horrific.
And killing a lot of Christians. Sounds reasonable. Thank you, Congresswoman.
Thank you, Tucker.
Coming up, she was one